Hi guys, today we're going to be looking at editing our work and we're going to focus on editing a newspaper article, and over here I've got the checklist of newspaper features. We looked at a checklist a bit like this when we did our first analysis of the articles that I showed you in class. If you haven't got one of these, I've put a link to this on the school website, so you can view this and you can check your own work off against this checklist. So I'm going to start with that just by looking through this checklist, see if I can find examples of each of these things in my writing. So first of all, the name of the newspaper. Yes, I've got a name for my newspaper at the top here. It's called News Daily. A headline that uses pun, rhyme or alliteration. My headline is Brave Backshall Escapes Watery Grave. So Brave Backshall, there's alliteration in there. I've also noticed that the headline is in all capitals. It's nice and big and bold, and it goes all the way across the top of my article, so it shows up really well. That's the hook, that's the thing what makes people want to read on. Okay, the next one is a byline, the writer's name. There we go, so I've got that just underneath my headline, reported by James Mansell. I've got a byline in there. An introductory paragraph that includes the 5 W's. Yes, I've done my introductory paragraph in bold as a sort of extra, a bit like a subheading really, to give just the key information, and it focuses on those 5 W's. Who, Steve Backshall, when, whilst filming his latest TV series, what, narrowly escaped a watery demise, where, on the Chamkachu River in Bhutan, and why, because he was filming Expedition. Pictures with captions. So I've got a picture over here, and just underneath it is a caption: Steve Backshall fights the current on the Chamkachu. Events in chronological order. So a little bit more tricky. I haven't really used dates in here, but I have put things in order of time, in the order that they happen. I started off with a little bit of background information to how we know Steve Backshall from things he'd done earlier. Went on to describe why he was doing this particular project, Expedition. Then explained what happened when the accident occurred and he nearly drowned. And then finally I finished off at the end with looking to the future and how other young explorers can get started. So things flow in a chronological order. Written in third person and past tense. So mostly it's in third person and past tense. I'm talking about Steve Backshall. I'm using words like he. Past tense, why he wanted to travel. Steve replied. And of course there are bits where there are present tense where you're using quotes. The sense of not knowing what's going to happen next is really exciting, so rather than was really exciting. So you need present tense within a quote, but most of the time it's in past tense. And I've used a little bit of second person at the end, just in my last paragraph, but otherwise it's in third person. Parentheses to add additional information. So I haven't used brackets in here, but I have used parentheses of different kinds. I've used some dashes, and I know I've used some commas for parenthesis, and I'm going to be checking for those things and making sure that I've got them in the right places in a moment. Apostrophes to show possession. I definitely have got apostrophes to show possession here. Quick thinking, Sal heard Backshall's calls for help, so the calls belong to Backshall. It was him making the calls, and so I've used an apostrophe for possession correctly there. Direct and reported speech. Well, hopefully you've seen that from the live stream I did on Wednesday. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but we are going to look at just checking the punctuation, because I've got a version here which doesn't have quite the right punctuation. I might need some help in correcting that. And then finally a conclusion to explain what might happen next. And we looked at conclusions yesterday, so my conclusion is my last two paragraphs here, which link together and draw together all of those threads from the rest of the article to finish it off. So I think I've got everything on my checklist. Now I'm going to do a little bit of more careful proofreading to make sure that I haven't made any silly mistakes with punctuation and so on. Let's zoom it in so we can see a little better. In fact, let's get rid of the checklist and make that full screen so we can see the whole thing. Right, first thing I'm going to check for is capital letters. Now, I'm pretty good at remembering capital letters at the beginnings of sentences, but I know that I sometimes make mistakes with capital letters for names, places, any of those proper nouns that require a capital letter. Now, when you're checking yours, you need to check through the whole thing. I know that I've got some mistakes in this paragraph here. I wonder if you can spot any of my mistakes. Where have I forgotten to use a capital letter? The first one I've forgotten is here because the name of the program was Deadly 60 and it needs a capital D because it's a name. Reading on. Oh, I've got Steve Backshall's name here, so that needs a capital B. And now I'm talking about some of the world's toughest environments. Oh, look, another apostrophe for possession used correctly. Toughest environments belong to the world. From desert canyons in Oman. And Oman, oh look, you can see it's suggested this for me already. Oman is a place, and the Arctic is also a place name, so I need a capital letter there. Okay, now you could go through and just check that you've done that in all of your writing. The next thing I'm going to check is speech punctuation. So I know in this paragraph here I've definitely used some speech for a quote. I've got direct speech in here and I need to check that I've punctuated it correctly. Here's my speech. Steve replied, that's the reporting clause, and I've started my speech but I've got something missing here. I know if I start with reporting clause I need to have a comma first before the speech starts. I've got my inverted commas, but I've forgotten that speech starts with a capital letter. So that's in there now. I'm just going to check that I've got an end to my speech. Oh, it ends down here. It's something deeply human. Oh, can anybody spot what the problem is here? Yeah, you're right. It should be a full stop and then the inverted commas. Punctuation always comes inside the inverted commas. Okay, I can tick that one off my list. Of course, I would need to check anywhere else that I'd used in, inverted commas. I'm going to, for brevity, I'm going to just show you quickly a paragraph at a time, but make sure, please, you check your whole piece of work. Let's have a look in the next paragraph here. Now, so this time, this read through, I'm thinking about sentence punctuation. Have I remembered beginnings and ends of sentences and made those really clear? To do this I need to read it aloud and listen for the pauses. But it was his trip along an unexplored whitewater river in Bhutan that almost cut his tour, and his life short, travelling by... Oh, that doesn't work, does it? That must be the end of the sentence. Cut his tour and his life short. Travelling by kayak, that sounds now the beginning of a sentence, so I've got a subordinate clause at the beginning. Travelling by kayak, Steve had to navigate a particularly dangerous stretch of river, stretch of river. Full stop. The current was unrelenting, and the river dragged him down a small waterfall in a canyon with vertical walls on either side. As he nosedived into the icy glacial meltwater, his kayak was flipped again and again, repeatedly plunging him beneath the water, he recalls. Beneath the water. Full stop. He recalls being held in the rapid for the best part of 5 minutes. Now that makes a lot more sense, and I could just read it through one more time and just check that I have, that it now sounds right with the pauses in the right places. I won't do that now, but you can read it through in your own writing and just check that you've got all of those things right. I'm also going to think about commas. So I'm going to look at this paragraph here, I think, for commas. Yeah, let's have a look at this paragraph here. Despite his brush with death, comma, I've got that one right, Backshall was not put off continuing his adventure. Indeed, he is keen to inspire a new generation of explorers. Steve advised young explorers to start their adventure close to home. I think it's really important that we get our skills to live and work in outdoor environments in a way that's safe, he commented. This all seems fine actually at the moment. I don't seem to have any problems with commas there. They all seem to be in the right places. What about my last paragraph though? I'm getting some hints that some things might not be right here because they've been underlined in blue. Let's check this one. So if, like Steve Backshall, you have a thirst... Oh, I think that would be clearer if I put some commas in. So, if, like Steve Backshall, you have a thirst for exploring, get out into your back garden. Oh, this sounds like a list of things. Learn, so that needs a comma, learn how to set a fire. There's another comma. Put up a tent, and there's the and build your stamina for walking and carrying your kit on your back. Who knows? Oh, I think I need a comma there. Perhaps you too will be the first person to enjoy a never-before-seen view. That sounds a lot better. Okay, you need to do the same thing I've just done. Focus on one area at a time when you're proofreading. Make sure that you have read the whole thing through, focusing on that one thing, before you go back and check for the next thing. That way you'll make sure that you get all of those little mistakes ironed out and you've got a really lovely piece of writing that you can be proud of at the end. I look forward to seeing your finished pieces of writing. Good luck with that, and I hope that you don't have any problems. If you do, just post either a comment if you're not sure about something. Remember, you can highlight something in your writing and insert a comment, and you can type in there. I'll get notified of that, and I can then leave a comment back. If there's anything else that you need, then just drop a help request to me or type something in the chat. I'm checking that every day, and I will let you know the answer as soon as I've seen it. Thanks for listening, guys. Hopefully see you next week. Bye for now.